Welcome back to my Tetris-Like tutorial. The next thing I wanted to do was previously we had all this working in blueprints, but I wanted to move it into C++. But before I get into that, I just wanted to point out a few things. I made a couple small changes to the UI here. So the first thing that I did was I added a little bit of padding to the top box, and then I changed it to a horizontal box. I did the same thing with the bottom box. The main thing is that the text itself was too close to the edge for my liking. Then the other thing I did on top of that to the top box, no, it was to the text. So the text, I made slice time here. This is just so that I can see what it would look like. I wanted to have a 3 decimal places of the timer. It's going to be 10 seconds, but I'm passing in a float. So it's going to be like, I don't know, it was, I think it was like 10 decimal places or something. So I wanted to truncate that. But anyway, I wanted to have at most 3 decimal places. And then the slice timer. So I changed this to 0.06, so 60% of the top horizontal box. And then I made this its own thing. So I added another text box in the horizontal box. So these are next to each other. You'll see why I did that in a moment. But the main thing is I just wanted it to display correctly with having to do like minimal casting and changing of data types in the code. And once I got in there, it became obvious that it was not great to do it the way that I was doing it. Trying to create f texts and then concatenate them was kind of annoying. It was kind of a pain in the ass in code. So it was better to separate out the text and then make it a number. Then down here, I did the same thing. It's 25% for the current slice because this will be at most 10. And then the text, it takes up 75%. So going back into C++ now, let's go over here. So this is my widget. All right. So you'll see here, I added the extra text box and changed the vertical text blocks to horizontal so that they display side by side instead of on top of each other, if that wasn't completely evident. Then I added 2 functions to set the text for the timer and the active slice, and that is over here. So I had to go into ukismet library and then convert double to text. There used to be a convert float to text, and that is deprecated. So I found out that they wanted to change to double to text, so I did that. And all that really takes is the float or double and a rounding mode. There are some other inputs that you can do here. So always sign, I think that just adds like a plus or minus at the beginning to show if it's positive or negative. Not sure what use grouping does. I didn't test that out. And then these ones I did test. Minimum integral digits means that in front of the dot. So if you want to have like leading zeros, you can make this like, I don't know, 3 or something, and it'll be 0, 0, 1 in the case of 1. And then the same thing with integral digits, or oh yeah, that's right. This is minimum. So minimum is 1, so it'll show 0. Maximum is like, how big you want it to get. I left these all to the default because I'm working with low numbers. Minimum fractional is 0, so it'll take off the zeros if it doesn't need them. And then maximum, I set it to 3, so it would cut off anything beyond that. Because it was like 10 or 12 or something digits that I think the floating point precision is. And it's just way more than is necessary for a 10-second timer. And then the active slice, it's a little bit simpler. So it's just f text as number. I'm only passing in whole numbers, so I didn't have to worry about dots or anything like that. All right. So let's go over to the HUD itself. Now, this is what was formerly done in Blueprints. So I was creating a widget. I was telling it that I wanted a Tetris-Cube HUD widget. Then I wanted to get the player controller and then add in the type of widget that I wanted. Only in C++ you have to set it to a variable before you can make changes to it. Well, I guess you don't have to. You could just go like add to viewport. That would work too. But I wanted to test my set timer text and set active slice text. So I put it into its own variable, added it to the viewport, and now the widgets I'm calling set timer text. This is all in the begin play of the HUD. And as a reminder, the HUD is this class here. I have a blueprint equivalent. I created a new game mode blueprint, and I set the HUD class to this Tetris-Cube HUD. So now when I hit, let me make sure that I'm all compiled. The hell? Oh, did I change something? Oh, 1 second. So apparently, oh yeah, I forget. I hit Shift F9 to pause my recording, and if I'm in code, it adds a breakpoint in VS Code. So what I had done was I had a comma here. I didn't realize that it would take the changes into account even if I didn't build from the code. That's something I learned like just now. Apparently you can just hit live coding and it will look at your code base, and since I have VS Code set up to automatically save, it picked up that comma and threw an error. So how about that? Now let's recompile. All right, beautiful. So now when I hit play, I would expect to see my HUD over here, and I would expect to see, where's my code? I would expect to see 99.999, and then it'll cut off these two nines, and then the active slice, it should show 100. Huzzah! Wait for those to move. But yeah, there we go. That is how you create a HUD and from code and add it to the viewport. My next step is going to be to create my default pawn. That will be the player board from the previous project. I'll go ahead and do that now. I'll probably just upload 2 videos today. That one won't take too long either. But I want to keep these short and simple. For those following along, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one.